So I've been learning a lot about the way that the political structure of the country operates recently. I've had the fortune to go to a lot of different places and speak to a lot of different people, and they've some have been very wealthy, some have not been very wealthy, some have been very well connected, and a lot of them haven't been well connected. And one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of the Eton educated lot don't actually hate the country. They actually kind of like the country, because they think of it as theirs and they're the ones running it. You know, they're quite international. They go places, but they seem to quite like coming back because this is their home, right? But a lot of the sort of I guess we'll call them the commuting middle class, the sort of, they earn about 50 grand a year. They do something, doctor or lawyer or something like that, but they're not owners. They don't own much. They might have a house, in somewhere out in the London commuter belt, but they don't own their businesses. They work for someone else and they kind of resent those people and they vote Labour. Or in fact, I think a lot of these people are the ones going over to the Lib Dems at the moment, which is actually the right place for them to go. The Liberal Democrats will become like the commuter middle class party of insufferable people who've never had a punch in the face, frankly. The sort of people who have never, because the reason I specify that, right, it's a weird thing to specify, but one of the things I noticed is that a lot of the Eton educated lot have taken a few knocks. They've been in a few fights. They've played rugby. They've done a lot of stuff that's actually quite physical. And obviously, on the right, on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the working class who are, I don't want to say rougher because it sounds like I'm being condescending, but I'm not. I mean it when I say there's something about the human. Having a bit of roughness in your life is part of the human experience, and it changes you into a different person. It gives you sort of like an education in character, and so a lot of the very top Tory types have had this a lot. Like, think of Boris. If you look at him, he's got quite good shoulders, and that's because of all the rugby he's played. He's taken his knocks. And then if you look down the other end of the scale, sort of like the Tommy Robinson DFLA types, they've taken their knocks too. But look at the Chuka Umnas and the Jeremy Corbyn types, the people who like them, they are the softest handed, weediest soy boys in the world. And it's true though. It's true. And it's these people who are the hardcore Remainers because they're the proud Europeans. They're the ones who, like Elton John said, I don't want to be a stupid little Englander. And that's kind of the problem. That's kind of the way that I view it at the moment, as far as I can tell. And so I don't think we're ever going to get the Tory guys, although a lot of them really do like a lot of the things we're doing. And I know because they've told me personally. But it's the network of connections that they have at the top it means they can't just leave what they are, and so it's going to have to be the sort of the working man outside of that UKIP's going to have to start talking to. But the thing is, I think that's our natural sort of demographic anyway. I think they are the people who genuinely need representation. And traditionally, that was the Labour Party's job. But of course, they've abandoned them because now they're all a bunch of racist Tommy supporters. And, so I think that we can make some serious headway there. And we shouldn't be looking at polls. We should be looking at membership. So look, and if it's essentially market ourselves as look, when political correctness comes for you, when these people come for you, we are literally going to be here to look after you. We're going to be here to give you moral support and to listen to your problems without judging you, because that's something that's really difficult to get from anyone else at the moment. And I think that we can do a lot of good if we carry on doing these kind of live events in political hotspots, particularly where the Labour Party has failed. Places like Peterborough, in fact, and places like Rotherham and places like Birmingham. These are the sort of places that I think we should be thinking about going to in the near future. In the next and I think we should do this as a regular thing. So one of the things I heard from a lot of people was, well, politicians only ever come around when they want my vote, and it's like, that's a good point. Why? Why do we only come around when we want their vote? Why aren't we there to help people generally? And I think that doing these kind of town hall debates and discussions about major political issues that are in the news all the time, I think it's something that, I've had nothing but good feedback on these, so I don't see why we wouldn't continue it. That's how I view it.